Yogis and yogis, Nick here again. So today I want to go over a back bending posture that was requested by one of my students. I do this a lot in my class and it's pretty dreamy for most people. So we'll go over this in two ways. First, I'm going to do this as an active back bend, and then I'm going to do the variation with support. And I usually do them in class in conjunction with each other. So one is more active, takes more muscular action, and the other one is more gentle and restorative and more of a kind of winding down portion. You're going to need, for this posture, one of these yoga blocks. It doesn't have to be cork like mine, it could be made out of foam or whatever you have. So this is going to be necessary for the restorative portion of this. So this is supported little bridge or little bridge. And I'm going to make sure that your feet are right underneath your knees. Your knees are in line with your hips. And you're going to lift your legs here. And I always find that lifting my toes helps me to really root down through the feet. So I'm going to recommend that you lift your toes up. You're still keeping the pad of your toes on the mat. Just the toes themselves are lifting. So just to lift and spread the toes. And then I'm going to first, I'm just going to wake up my lower back a little bit here. So if you were standing and you were sticking your bum out, that's what I'm doing. So I'm arching my back. Hopefully you can see that. So my lower back is lifting off the floor, and you're creating like a little mouse tunnel underneath there. Then I'm going to tuck my tailbone, get rid of that curve in the lower back, and push my lower back into the floor, curling my pubic bone towards my face. So we're going to do that a couple more times. I'm going to arch and tuck. Inhaling as you arch. Exhaling, tucking. Let's do it one more time. Inhaling, arching. And exhaling, tucking. Now keeping this tuck and lifting the hips. You really want to root down through the feet. You can bring your arms, but you want to root down through the arms as well. Then I'm rolling my shoulders underneath me. I'm rolling over, bringing one shoulder under, and then the other, trying to get your legs up. And then you're going to either interlace your fingers, if you have this range in your shoulders. If when you do this though, your elbows are bent and they're sticking out to the sides, then just push your palms down. Lifting your toes, lifting your legs. This should feel like a fair bit of work, lifting you up. Taking 3 or 4 breaths here. And then you're going to release the hands if you were interlaced. Pull your belly button in and uncoil your spine super slow. You're starting with the upper back and the lower back. Eventually, tailbone comes down. And then just take a couple of breaths to rest. You could do that 3 or 4 times, exactly like that. Arching, touching, tucking, lifting, and coming up into an active back bend. I usually do about 3 times in my class. And then from here, we'll go into the more restorative version. So again, you're going to need a yoga block. Let's have that handy. But I'm going to come into it exactly the same way. So I'm arching my lower back, tucking my tailbone, arching again, tucking. Again, inhale as you arch, exhale as you tuck. Then from there, lifting the toes again, rooting down through the feet, and lifting your hips, rolling your shoulders underneath you, interlacing your fingers, or palms down. You want to make sure that your knees are only hip distance apart. So it's common here for students to let their knees fall out. Keep them tracking in line with your hips. The other thing you want to remember is that you want to have the outside edge of your feet straight. So again, it's common for the feet to turn out. You want to turn those feet straight. And in fact, when you're in this position, when your feet feel almost pigeon-toed, that will mean they're straight. Lifting up, either interlacing or palms down, your choice. Then I'm going to come to this block. If you're not as flexible as me, you might have to drop the block down to this height. So you can do this height, or you could do this height. And I'm putting it going this way. This is important for this posture. And then I'm going to walk my feet in a little, come up to my toes, take my brick, put it under my tailbone, and then I'm going to bring my feet down. And again, if you couldn't come up this high, you just drop it down. So if you're not that open, you can do this height as well. So lifting up, tucking that block under there, and then realigning the feet. So making sure the knees, again, are hip distance apart. Toes are slightly turning in a little, and then you're just going to either interlace your fingers or palms down. Or another variation would be to bring your elbows to the floor and just bring your hands up to your hips like this. But either way, you want to roll your shoulders underneath you. Couple other things to watch for here. Keep the curve in your neck. So you don't want to flatten out this curve in your neck by bringing your chin to your chest. So you want to keep that curve, and you want to use the shoulders rolling under to support your neck. You can stay here for anywhere from a minute up until 5 minutes, just depending on how comfortable you are in this pose. To come out of this, you're going to lift up again. You might have to walk your toes in, lift the hips, take that block out, and then you're going to roll yourself down again. So bringing the heels down, but keeping that tuck in the tail, and slowly uncoiling your spine again, vertebrae by vertebrae, till your hips hit the floor. Then just take a moment to stretch your legs out straight. And see what changes you notice from being on that block. Just checking out the whole lower back, tailbone area, and seeing what you notice. And then to come up, rolling over to the side and using your hand to lift you. So if you are quite tight in your lower back, that posture can be fairly intense for people. The block does put a lot of pressure on the tailbone, and that's actually what you want, is to feel that pressure on the tailbone. But we don't want any pain. So you have to decide for yourself where your comfort level is there. So pressure, maybe even burgeoning into moderate discomfort, but not pain. And oftentimes it's mentally we have more trouble with this pose because it does involve the lower back, and there's a lot of emotions and fear around the lower back. So sometimes it's the emotions that are harder in this pose than actually doing the pose itself. And so that pressure on the lower back is actually one of the benefits of this pose. And you'll notice the difference when you come out and stretch your legs out straight. So I hope that's helpful. Supported little bridge and little bridge. If you haven't subscribed already, take a moment to click the yellow subscription button if you're watching on YouTube. Leave me a thumbs up and a comment below. And if you're watching this on Facebook and you have video requests, just hit the discussion tab and let me know what requests you would like, and I will include them for future videos. Thank you. Namaste.